The most deadly bus accident in the history of Bulgaria happened early on Tuesday morning. Here are the details. A bus has slammed into a highway barrier in Bulgaria, killing at least 45 people on board, including 12 children, according to the BBC. The bus had been part of a convoy of 4, making a return trip from Istanbul to Skopje in North Macedonia. However, the other buses were a few minutes ahead by the time of the accident, the cause of which remains unknown. The New York Times reports one local mayor of a town close to the site, saying that accidents are common in the area because of the steep gradient of the roads, while the BBC cites one of the investigators as saying human error by the driver or a technical malfunction are currently the two most likely explanations. ABC News reports that 9 children were among 10 people killed in a horrific Alabama interstate crash on Saturday, June 19th. The crash was described as a domino effect crash involving 18 vehicles. It started when 2 18-wheeler trucks crashed and sandwiched a bus between them. One of the vehicles that set off the deadly chain reaction is believed to have hydroplaned on the wet road surface. The bus was from the Tallapoosa County Girls Ranch, a home for abused, neglected, and abandoned girls. Only one of the 9 people in this bus, namely the female driver, could be saved by a bystander before a huge fire engulfed the bus. The surviving driver was also the director of the girls' ranch. 2 trains have collided in Salisbury, England after the first hit an object and derailed, according to the BBC, with a Network Rail spokesperson cited by the Press Association, explaining that the 1708 Great Western Railway service from Portsmouth Harbour to Bristol Temple Meads hit the object inside a tunnel as it approached Salisbury Station around 6:46 p.m. The derailment then knocked out signalling in the area as the 1720 South Western Railway service from London Waterloo to Honiton approached the tunnel. From there, one local resident said they heard no screeching like brakes, just a long rumbling sound like thunder hitting the railway line, and one woman on the second train said she was thrown against the wall and there was a massive rumbling as it collided with the first train, injuring 17 people and initially trapping one of the train's drivers in their train. At least 3 people were killed and 50 were injured after Amtrak's westbound Empire Builder train derailed in Montana at 4 p.m. Saturday, September 25th, but the cause is still unknown. The Associated Press spoke to David Clark, director of the Center for Transportation Research at the University of Tennessee, who noted that the derailment occurred at or near a switch where the railway goes from a single to a double track. The 2 locomotives and 2 cars at the front of the train reached the split and continued onwards, though one passenger reported being thrown around inside. However, the 8 cars behind those cars all derailed, and Clark suggests it might have been that the front of the train hit the switch and it started fishtailing, and that flipped the back part of the train. The New York Times spoke to one expert who summarized the general direction any investigation might take, explaining that right now the incident does not appear to be human error, and thus it is likely something broke. A small plane has crashed into a residential area in California, causing fatalities. Here's what you need to know. At least 2 people died when a private twin-engine C-340 Cessna plane crashed in Southern California on Monday afternoon, according to CNN. The plane came down in the city of Santee in San Diego County at about 12:14 p.m., according to the Federal Aviation Administration, with NBC7 San Diego explaining that the pilot had failed in an attempt to land in a nearby field after some sort of issue. As the plane went down toward the intersection of Greencastle and Jeremy Streets, witnesses said its wing made contact with a UPS truck that was nearing a stop sign, which killed its driver. The plane's fuselage then slid toward 2 homes and exploded, with Santee Fire Department Battalion Chief Justin Matsushita telling reporters 2 or 3 other houses had also sustained damage, according to Fox 5 San Diego. 2 residents were rescued by a group of neighbors. Fox 5 San Diego reports that this is the 3rd private plane to crash in the city within the last 6 years, but there is some evidence this is part of an even wider phenomena. According to a USA Today investigation, almost 45,000 people have been killed over the past 5 decades in private planes and helicopters, which is almost 9 times the number to have died in airline crashes. In 2014, for instance, 1 person was killed and another injured after another small private plane crash landed in a San Diego parking lot. The plane, a single-engine Mooney M20, was carrying a pilot, a 52-year-old woman, and an 80-year-old female passenger. While attempting to make a landing at Montgomery Field Airport, that aircraft bounced and continued westbound. The plane next clipped the top of a department store and knocked down a light fixture before crashing into the parking lot of a busy shopping center. Similarly, in 2015, 3 people aboard a small plane were killed when a Beechcraft BE-36 bound for Norwood Memorial Airport crashed into a family home in Plainville, Massachusetts. The pilot reportedly told an air traffic controller that he was experiencing engine failure a few minutes before the plane crashed into the top rear end of the house. A family of 4 escaped from the building unharmed, but Massachusetts State Police said the 2 adults and a child on board the plane were killed. In 2014, USA Today reported that federal investigators attributed these kinds of private crashes to pilot errors 86% of the time. However, there were repeated instances in which crashes, deaths, and injuries were caused by defective parts and dangerous designs, which cast doubt on the government's official rulings. USA Today's investigation claimed at the time to reveal the inner workings of an industry hit so hard by legal claims that it sought and won liability protection from Congress. That would likely be no consolation to Domingo Galicia, who was in his trailer with his daughter at the Marmac Colony Club mobile home at Lake Worth, Florida, before a small plane crashed into it in 2015. He told CBS Miami he stepped outside his home just before the plane went down. But his daughter, 21-year-old Banny Galicia, was inside the trailer when the plane landed on top of it, and Galicia told local media she was killed. 2 mobile homes, including Galicia's, caught fire after the crash. The trailer park's management said 3 bodies were pulled from the wreckage. The causes of these crashes are reported on far less often than the crashes themselves, but in the cases of another crash in 2015, which killed 2 first-year college students in Madison County, New York, engine problems were immediately identified as the source of the problem. The 2 19-year-old Colgate University students rented a single-engine Cessna plane from Hamilton Municipal Airport. The plane reportedly encountered engine problems shortly after takeoff. The pair sent a distress signal before the plane crashed into a wooded area in the town of Eaton, and both students died at the scene. Sometimes these things are simply crazy accidents, like in 2014 when a single-engine Cirrus SR-22 plane was traveling from Cleveland, Tennessee to Frederick, Maryland, and it collided with a Robinson R-44 helicopter in midair near the Frederick Municipal Airport. The airplane deployed a parachute that helped it to descend, while the helicopter broke into pieces after hitting the ground, killing the 3 occupants.
For more news animations and explainers, hit the subscribe and bell button to join the TomoNews family. Thanks for watching.